Our next story takes us to Big Sky country in western Montana, a state with a reputation for unexplained phenomenon. And this bizarre image is proof that if you're ever there at night, it's best to bring a camera. Deer Lodge, Montana, October 2018. Don Bromley is working a ranch equipped with more than 100 motion-controlled trail cams to spot predators and catch potential trespassers. One morning, Don checks the cameras and realizes they'd caught a trespasser unlike any he'd ever seen.
It was one of those, just an eerie feeling I had looking at it. It had the two legs, but it didn't look right. You could see the head was too big and a little off. You know, really made you guess and question what it was.
Now take a closer look. Especially that bulbous head. Does that look human to you? Don doubts it. The camera was miles away from any sort of road or trail. So he went back to conduct a photo experiment.
I found the exact spot where that being was and where I was and put them side by side. And I'm glad I did it because that one really hits it home. It really shows what a person should look like, and then there's no explanation for the other one.
So what are we looking at here? A Bigfoot?
Montana has a rich history of cryptids in general. Sasquatch is being #1 on the list because it is excellent habitat. They are there.
Montana was also a hotspot for UFO activity.
There's cattle mutilations, horse mutilations. There's just a lot of activity that is unexplained to this day.
In fact, in 1950, Montana was where it's believed a man named Nick Marianas made UFO history.
He sees two shiny objects moving through the sky. He gets the 16mm camera and films this. As far as we know, this is the first UFO captured on film.
So did Don's camera capture something equally momentous? A Bigfoot, an extraterrestrial, or something entirely new? We sent Don's photo to our experts, starting with our trusty forensic image analyst, Michael Primo. The first question is whether or not Don altered this picture.
We performed essentially an X-ray of the image that provides any kind of distinction between something that's been copied and pasted onto a picture, but I didn't detect any alerts from my image authentication software to notify me that there were any kind of inconsistencies with the image. This is a camera original.
Okay, we know it's not a fake photograph. So then could it be the famous Bigfoot? We take the photo to anthropologist Kathy Strain.
Obviously, it's not an animal. So this is something that's walking upright. It's clearly bipedal. It's not on all fours. And there's not a whole lot of cryptids that are bipedal. Bigfoot walks on two legs.
But that may be where the similarities to Bigfoot end.
Doesn't seem to be heavy set, wide-shouldered. It's clearly not hair covered. It doesn't appear to be that much difference in size than Don himself, and so it doesn't make any sense for that to be a Bigfoot.
So if it's not a Bigfoot, could it be something else? Inhuman.
Your initial thought is, wow, is that an alien? Is that what we're looking at? But if you look at it more closely, you can see that, to me anyway, that he's wearing a hoodie, and that's why his head looks so funny shaped. And he's not wearing a backpack, but it's clearly a trespasser, to me, going through the property. I use game cameras a lot because we put them out at archaeological sites to catch looters. And based on that, it has all the elements of just an overexposed photo. And it's a malfunction, I think, of the camera. Like this is an overexposed mountain lion. You can tell it's a cat, but you're not gonna get much else out of that because it's so over-flashed that you can't get any details. In this other photo, because it looks like a human, I'm gonna conclude that it's a human.
So we can say that the photo is authentic, despite the suspicious blurring around the distorted head. See that right there? But Kathy Strain's cat picture convinces me. For now, at least, our verdict is blurred human. One note, though, Don says none of his other cameras recorded any trespassers. So that bit of the mystery is still lingering. In October 2017, a man is about to step into his sister's bathroom in Alor Setar, Malaysia. When he notices something crawling out of the toilet, the 28-year-old immediately rushes out to tell his sister, who whips out her camera and captures this video. The footage shows a strange, slithering creature emerging from the bathroom with its head poking out of the door. It surveys its surroundings before finally crawling out onto the tiled floor. Let's take another look. The creature appears to be about 6 feet long, with a small head, thick body, and a short tail. Field researcher Ken Gerhardt has studied river monsters, lake monsters, and now sewer monsters.
It's large, it's slimy and black. It's crawling out of a toilet. That's about as bad as it gets. People don't generally spend a lot of time, if any time, in a sewer. So we really don't have any idea of what types of creepy crawlies might be down there.
Gerhardt says the most persistent urban legend involves the sewers of the Big Apple.
There are accounts and rumors going back to the 1930s that describe sizable alligators actually living and breeding in the New York sewer system. There is one theory that perhaps these were pets that were somehow discarded and flushed down the toilet when they were small and then grew to massive sizes in the sewer.
Of course, not all sewer animals are monsters. Sometimes animals just get stuck in the sewers, trapped by size or circumstance. And everything from giant rats, feral cats, even cows, have been found in sewer systems around the world. And marine biologist Dr. Sheikh Conger says in Southeast Asia, giant snakes turn up down there too.
It's a really tropical, forested environment. In fact, it's been known that there have been snakes that have emerged from toilets or plumbing.
In fact, in 2019, this 14-foot cobra was found in a sewer in Thailand. Sewer creatures have been making headlines for decades, but it is rare to encounter anything this big and this disturbing. So could this be a giant snake? Or maybe just some form of camera trickery? Let's go to our video expert.
This recording has been compressed pretty heavily, so in layman's terms, it's too blurry to see anything to be able to identify exactly what we're seeing. However, in terms of authenticity of the way that the recording is playing and the way that the camera operator is capturing this object, I don't see anything to suggest it's been CGI'd or Photoshopped.
So if the video is real, is this thing a snake? Dr. Conger says we need to consider other slimy creatures known to slither across this part of the world.
Malaysia is home to amphibians that we call caecilians. And these are salamander-like animals that don't have limbs or any external appendages, so they look a bit like giant worms. These animals can actually get 5 to 6 feet long, but what you have in essence is an animal that's only a few inches in diameter. And so my idea that this could be some sort of caecilian goes out the window.
Conger has another thought that's even grosser.
Malaysia is pretty well known for its leeches, which are blood-sucking invertebrates. But if this were a leech, it would have to be 30 or 40 times bigger than a known species of leech, which I think is really unlikely.
Professor Floyd Hayes, who has been fascinated with snakes since childhood, is pretty sure he knows what we're looking at. And it's not some sort of mythical serpent.
There are quite a few different species of snakes in Malaysia. This one appears to be very thick-bodied, and there's not that many species that would look like this. It looks a lot like the elephant trunk snake.
Hayes says that the baggy skin, which gives the impression that it's too big for the animal, is the telltale sign. So our verdict? Based on its known habitat and size, we think the sewer monster is an elephant trunk snake. And while they usually make their homes near rivers and lagoons, this one chose a toilet instead. No accounting for taste. May 2020. It's nightfall in Saskatchewan, Canada. In the pitch black darkness, there's something amiss in the yard across from this driveway.
The heck is that?
Let's push in and slow this down. Something's hiding behind that rock.
Every once in a while, it peeks its head out and then goes back really fast. Then peeks its head out again and goes back really fast. And then they turn the flashlight off, wait a few moments, and turn it on, and poof, there it is. The shadow, if nothing else, shows you that this thing really is there.
Numerous comments on the internet suggest the figure might be evidence of the small creatures known as the Managishi in Native American lore. Legend has it they are hairy, six-fingered goblins without noses who capsize canoes and steal when disrespected.
They are mischievous. They are out to get you. You want to keep your distance.
And according to folklore, these Canadian creatures also want to avoid being seen as best they can. Is this night somehow the exception?
What we do know is that the video isn't easy to evaluate as the creature comes in and out of the light. But I'll tell you this, though. When I froze on this frame, I thought I saw what looked like a stick for manipulating a puppet. Let's see what the experts have to say.
To authenticate the footage, we return to forensic video analyst Michael Primo.
It's spooky. This is definitely a recording that I have a hard time explaining. When you watch the video, the movement appears to be consistent with what I would expect to see from a recording that was created in this environment.
Primo doesn't believe the video has been manipulated or altered. So then could it be a nocturnal animal, like a raccoon or a possum? We return to our wildlife biologist, Lucy Eckersley.
This looks like something bipedal that walks on its back legs and can utilize its front limbs. So from what I can see, I think that this is a humanoid creature between 3 and 4 foot tall.
And she thinks it's not just humanoid, it's a human, a younger specimen.
From everything I've seen here, I think that it's most likely children having a bit of fun.
Anthropologist Kathy Strain disagrees.
I have never quite seen anything like it.
Strain, who's well-read in legends of the Managishi, says you can tell by the nearby doghouse that the creature is not large.
It must be nocturnal because its eyes are adapted to seeing things at night. It was standing out in the open, looking towards them when the flashlight was off.
The size, eyesight, and behavior match the Managishi. Strain says this video may be proof they're real.
I think what we're seeing is a real animal that is represented in those traditional stories.
So neither Lucy Eckersley nor Kathy Strain thought it was a puppet. And based on its compact size and ability to stand upright, we'll say it's likely a little humanoid. But whether it's a legendary Managishi or just a little human, we'll let you decide.
April 2021. Christina Ryan is asleep in her home in Palm Beach, Florida. But while her eyes are shut, her home security camera is wide awake, and it captures this wild footage. The video, just 4 seconds long, shows an animal running across the front yard in the dead of night. Let's slow it down and take another look. It's hard to tell exactly what this is, but there is no doubt in Christina's mind about what her camera recorded.
My immediate thought is it's a raptor or some type of a dinosaur, the way that it's running, and just the entire shape and everything indicated to me dinosaur.
Field researcher Ken Gerhardt agrees. The blurry but extremely intriguing clip screams velociraptor to him too.
It appears to have a kind of a long and powerful sturdy tail. This is kind of the classic image of a small bipedal theropod type of dinosaur.
As crazy as it may seem, Gerhardt shares that there are many modern-day accounts of living dinosaurs, just like Christina Ryan's, right here in the US of A.
In southwest Colorado, there have been many sightings, and they're referred to as river dinosaurs or river lizards. These are basically smaller types of theropod-like dinosaurs, just like we're seeing in the Florida video.
There are also traditions in southwest Texas of tall bipedal lizards called mountain boomers, larger versions of a known smaller species. These sightings are fleeting, but they do happen. So is it that crazy to think that other dinosaur species could be alive and well in Florida? Let's ask our experts.
Because it's moving at a high rate of speed and the encoder is not set to capture that information with a high quality, it's essentially blurring and elongating some of that with motion trail compression artifacting. The pixel information that was captured was not captured with accuracy.
So Primo says the footage hasn't been altered, but it still may be distorted in the camera. The tail of this creature may not be what it seems. So we brought in our resident zoologist, Roxy Furman, who reminds us where this happened and why that may be a clue.
Florida is famous for its exotic pet trade, and also they obviously have gators in the region. The way it moves could be reptile-like. It moves kind of side to side in this waddle-like manner, but its body pattern has no indication of scales or any different coloration or variation along the back. So for me, that kind of rules out any kind of reptile.
That would eliminate giant prehistoric reptiles like raptors, too. So if it isn't a dinosaur, then what is it?
What I think is most likely is a dog that's got loose. You can see the tail running behind it.
The tail looks like a lizard's due to the picture distortion Primo identified.
And it also looks like there's something kind of dragging, like a leash. And that would also explain kind of this white area that we see around the head, which would most likely be a reflective collar. And it's just kind of running through someone's garden.
So, our verdict. This is just a dog on the loose, not a runaway raptor. But again, thanks to Florida's laid-back exotic pet regulations, gigantic lizards have gotten free in the Sunshine State.